Nigerians, and welcome once again to Active Citizens Heroes series right here on Evening Parliament. So tonight we ask perhaps the most uncomfortable question since the 2023 presidential election. Did Nigerians abandon their polling units in 2023? Now for over 3 years now, we have blamed President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. We have blamed the INEC. We have blamed the political parties. We have blamed the judiciary. We have blamed the politicians. And perhaps some of those criticisms are justified. But tonight, we want to ask a difficult question that many people may not want to hear. Did Nigerians also abandon the very place where democracy is born, which is the polling unit? Did we leave our vote unprotected and then spend years looking for someone else to blame? Could it be that while politicians were organized, citizens were not? Could it be that while we focused on who won and who lost, we ignored what actually happened polling unit by polling unit? And if that happened in 2023, could it be that it will happen again in 2027? Joining me tonight is Mr. Chidi Lucky Kanu, who says this conversation is not about defending politicians, but about understanding how elections are actually won, lost, stolen, protected, or even abandoned. Mr. Kalu, let me ask you directly. Are Nigerians asking the wrong question about 2023? First of all, good evening.
Good evening, Ms. Solex. Ifeoma, thank you for having me.
Thank you.
And I want to apologize to our viewers. Last Friday we had a network glitch.
Yeah.
But this is the Active Citizens Heroes series, and we must continue the discussion and message because it's directed on 2027.
Yeah.
So to answer your question directly, or even to Nigerians, is a direct no. I am not blaming Nigerians. Most people who listen to our previous conversations actually think that I'm blaming Nigeria, I'm blaming this. No, I am not. I'm not blaming Nigerians, and I'm certainly not excusing the politicians either. Anyone who breaks electoral laws should be held accountable. But before we can solve a problem, we must first understand how that problem actually happens. We must understand how elections are won, lost, stolen, protected, or even abandoned at the polling unit. Because no election is rigged, like I said the other day, in the sky. The election is never manipulated by magic. No election result, Nigeria, fall from the heavens, already written by God. It happens somewhere. It happens either at the polling unit, it happens at the collation centers, it happens when citizens are really absent. It happens when citizens are afraid, then they fear. It happens when citizens are divided, and it happens when citizens are compromised at the polling unit level. And sometimes, Ifeoma, it happens because citizens simply surrender the process to other people. That is the talks when they carry come. One of our biggest mistakes, Ifeoma, in Nigeria is that every election we focus only on who won. We don't even ask how the process unfolded from polling unit to polling unit as it should be. We focus on the destination. We ignore the journey itself, but we are focusing on the destination. So the destination Nigeria finds themselves now is Chief Bola Tinubu. You get my point. But they forgot where it all started at the polling unit level.
But a lot of people, Nigerians watching this program, will think or believe that 2023 election was rigged. Some people believe it was the INEC that rigged it. Some people believe that it was the judiciary that manipulated the election result. Do you think, or are you saying right now that all of the assertions are wrong?
No.
Okay.
The assertions are wrong, but where it gets interesting is where they focus on Chief Bola Tinubu, and they focus on the INEC, and they focus on the judiciary, but they fail to ask themselves, what should I have done at the polling unit level? So no, I'm not saying that Nigerians are, the question they are asking is wrong. I'm saying that they are asking only one part of the question. So please, guys, you guys should get me right. They are asking one part of the question, because one of the biggest mistakes we make is thinking that rigging is a single event. I said that the other day. Rigging is not an event. It's a chain of reactions that started both at the polling unit level. You understand me? If you are not watching what is counted at the polling unit level, and you are not looking at how it is being pronounced, and finally that from EC8, if you are not watching one of those things are changed. So if you are not watching on all of those things and you're thinking it's a singular event that comes from the sky, or it's a Chibola Tinubu that will be at his own polling unit that will now rig your own polling unit. No, you are not vigilant enough. It won't happen at any polling unit.
Well said, but there was something you mentioned now, and which is a chain. What do you mean by chain? Because many Nigerians will not understand what you mean. So can you maybe elaborate more?
Okay, I'm not talking about the physical iron chain. I'm talking about a chain of reaction. That is action that can happen before, during, and after voting. That chain can include, one, vote buying. It happens at the polling unit, you understand me? Vote buying, vote intimidation, like what happened in Lagos that time, a lot of people being intimidated, voter suppression, fake result sheets, wrong uploads, collation manipulation, judicial technicalities, different election experience with different combinations. But regardless of what happens later, the first battlefield is always at the polling unit, because polling unit is where democracy is born. I'm talking about where the collation we are talking about is where collation, democracy is being tested, but it's being born at the polling unit. That is where it is being born.
Interesting.
Yeah, to test it at the collation.
Okay, it should be tested at the collation center. But still on this, let's go back to the question that led us into this conversation, which is, do you think that one man can actually manipulate 176,000, over 176,000 polling units?
Before we answer that question, Ifeoma, I know the last time I was very clear. Before we answer that question, let us understand what 176,846 polling units actually mean. It's not just a number. This means different locations, thousands of communities, thousands of schools, thousands of villages. I'm talking about, let's just be clear, no single person can physically stand in all of these places. That's why when you say Chibola Tinubu rigged an election, I say, well, not one man can do that. You understand me? Because he cannot be at different polling units at the same time. I mean, he's not God. You get my point? But excuse me, let me finish. No politician can physically monitor every polling unit, is what I'm trying to mean, Ifeoma. No president can personally manipulate every ballot box. No judge can be present in every polling unit. Every national result is simply the accumulation of thousands of polling unit results. And that is why I say elections are not won in Abuja. They are won polling unit by polling unit, Ifeoma. It's not at Abuja. So saying one man rigging 146,000 plus polling units, I mean, it's a complete fallacy. It is we disregarding what we should hold ourselves responsible for.
Interesting. But one more question, sir. Why do you think that so many Nigerians believe that it was actually Chief Bola Ahmed Tinubu that rigged the election in 2023?
Let me start by saying that is simply saying that one man was actually at 176,000 polling units plus. But let me be clear on this so that people will understand my direction. The reason why they are saying that Chibola Tinubu, INEC, and judiciary colluded for them to win is because of fear. One, at the polling unit, is because of hopelessness. Hopelessness. I'm talking about why they think that the one man rigged the election. Fear. Now, again, because of repeated disappointments in various different elections, the voter party will find, and because politicians often appear more organized than citizens, and politicians arrive with structure. They already have a structure, but they have agents, they have coordinators, they have communication channels. Citizens often arrive as individuals. They are never organized. They are one at the polling units frustrated, disconnected, without organization. And the problem is not always that politicians are too organized. Let me be clear about that. The problem is often that citizens are not organized at all as citizens, Ifeoma.
Yeah, well said, sir. But now you mentioned something about the politicians having, structures, and you mentioned something that Nigerians are not, or Nigerian citizens are equally not organized enough. But why is it that election constantly fail? Because we see, years to years, they will say there was a ballot snatching, there was a lot of election irregularities. Why do you think, is there more to election failure than this whole thing that we see every single time and then?
Ifeoma, let's be clear in most of these assertions, because democracy is not self-executing. Democracy is by the citizens, for the citizens. That's why they say by the people, for the people, as the case might be. Democracy does not automatically deliver credible elections. Democracy on its own does not automatically deliver development. Democracy depends on institutions. It depends on leadership. It depends on citizenship. For us to own what we are, the citizens who own the democracy. Democracy fails, by your question, when citizens become spectators. They come out there to exercise their franchise and they become spectators on their own events. Exercising their right is their event. Is somebody coming out to your studio and the person that is supposed to be talking like me is becoming a spectator? Democracy will certainly fail. So democracy also fails when institutions become weak. And you understand? And democracy also fails when leaders avoid accountability. Democracy also fails when citizens stop learning from previous mistakes. Like what happened in 2023 that you're talking about is about to repeat itself in 2027 if they have not learned. Because the question is no longer about whether it's Bola Tinubu or the INEC or the judiciary. It is now, what would you have done differently come 2027? Democracy fails when everybody expects a messiah. I'm talking about we as citizens expecting a messiah to happen at the polling unit. It's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen. Well said, Mr. Kalu.
No messiah is coming to fix Nigeria, and no, democracy is a shared duty and responsibility, by the way, between the government and the governed, which are the citizens that I keep talking about. So and also between leaders and the citizens. So the onus
now lies on us to secure our vote, because everybody will say we'll be at the polling unit to watch what is happening. But what you're saying, what I can derive from what you're saying now, we just don't need to completely spectate. We need to equally be active participants in the process. But still on the topic now, do you think that democracy does not fail because of politicians alone? You've said that a lot, but I just want you to elucidate more on that.
Absolutely not. Just hear me very clear. Absolutely not. Democracy does not fail only because bad politicians exist. Nigerians, please listen to me. Democracy fails when good citizens disappear at the polling unit. When good people withdraw from the system, thinking that they would have casted their vote, their thumbs have been printed and all of that. When good people decide politics is not their business any longer. When good people that we are abandon their polling units, because every vacuum in politics gets occupied by somebody. If I'm trying to be clear, every vacuum in politics is occupied by somebody. They don't give you a chance. That's why, but when I say politicians are organized, it's not like they are magic people or something like that. It's just that polling unit, they would have sent either their talks to come and act, and citizens will be so scared. When I talk about fear, they'll be so scared, and somebody shoots a gun in the air and everybody flares up. Well, I don't want to die. Oh, come on, you get my point. The point is, it's just one person who comes there to make noise, and you have thousands of people who are sitting down there being spectators watching is it Oluomo or whatever in Lagos acting. You get my point?
Yeah.
And they are there just clipping the videos as the case might be. Anyway, that's a story for another day.
Well said. Now let's go dive deeper into this conversation, because we all complain that during election a lot of malpractices happen, but nobody seek to sit down and probably analyze, research on what the solution is. So I think this is one of the things that we will be bringing to you right now, right here on Active Citizens, on Hero series here on Active Citizens. So Mr. Kalu, I'm asking now, you've mentioned a lot of problems surrounding the electoral system, but I want to know, what do you think are the solutions here?
Let me say organization. When we talk about organization, I'm talking about the citizens being organized. You understand? Polling unit by polling unit. I mean, polling unit is local.
Yeah.
Now, not them being as thugs, not as being a party agents. They are not fighters. They must be peaceful. They should be trained. We should also be disciplined citizens. Now, people who know their polling unit by polling unit, they are in their community. I mean, they know the voters in this community. They document whatever is happening peacefully. They report it to what we call the Nigerian-owned NG polls, reporting it responsibly and refuse to abandon democracy to politicians. Because a polling unit without citizen is an invitation to manipulation. Get that very point.
Yeah.
It's an invitation to manipulation. When you have a voter apathy, the manipulation will happen, certainly. And that's why we're encouraging people now to go get their PVCs, to register and get their PVCs as the case might be. So if we are able to launch a Nigerian-based de facto IREV, I'm talking about a system that can be owned by Nigerians, reported by Nigerians. And when we talk about IREV, we can always cross-check. It just be a reference point.
When you say 20 citizens in each polling unit, what do you mean by that?
When I talk about, those are the heroes of Nigeria, the people I'm expecting Nigerians to honor after the 2027 general election, the people who will emerge as heroes in Nigeria, because it has never happened before. When we talk about citizens taking ownership of their polling unit, just imagine a polling unit with 500 or 300 people, but we have 20 organized men and women who are at this very polling unit, not as party agents, but reporting for the citizens, by the citizens that they are. You get my point?
Yes.
So these 20 people on each polling unit, by the time you put them together, you'll be looking at about 5+ million Nigerians reporting what is happening at various polling units across Nigeria. So this tells a different story for 2027.
Well said, Mr. Kalu. I believe that every Nigerian watching out there is listening right now to the solution to the electoral malpractice. It's not all about gnashing teeth. We need solution-driven, strategies. But so tonight, did Nigerians abandon their polling units in 2023? Why do we blame Bola Tinubu? Why do we blame the judiciary? Why do we blame INEC? And why do we end up ignoring ourselves? And perhaps the bigger question is this: will we repeat the same mistakes in 2027? Ask yourself that question, Mr. Kalu.
Yes, whether it will be repeated for 2027 is certainly will happen if nobody is listening as we are talking right now. But I believe that Nigerians are listening, and not just listening. I also believe that they are going to take action. Now, if the citizens are, protected by the organization, the polling unit is where this democracy is actually born that I'm talking about. So if they are able to organize themselves, document, partake, remain vigilant, and democracy becomes stronger because they were able to document, get their Form EC8S and all of that, the future of Nigerian democracy will not be divided by one individual. Are you getting it? It will be decided by millions of ordinary citizens who refuse to abandon their polling unit, because the polling unit belongs to the people. And when citizens organize, democracy becomes much much more stronger. So from what I'm saying is that a repeat of, if we are not to see the repeat of 2023 on this 2027, on the journey to 2027, first we need to get organized as citizens. When we get organized, each polling unit by polling unit, and in a place where we have, whether it's 1,000 registered voters or we have 500 or 300, all we just need is 20 people. Why do I keep mentioning 20 people? I'm talking about heroes. I want Nigerians to honor their own, people who are able to step down to make sure that the power gets back to the people. It is not about Chief Bola Tinubu, who is contesting for APC. It is not about Peter Obi, who is for NDC, or Atiku for is it NDC, as the case ADC might be. So it is not really about the political parties. I'm not bothered with that. I'm bothered with Nigerians getting organized, polling unit by polling unit, reporting what is happening at the polling unit to their own IREV. Let Nigerians develop their own IREV, where they will report independently as citizens, report everything that happened at their polling unit, and they'll get their result from polling unit by polling unit. And I mean, they can now compare with INEC, and at that very point we can now justify, oh, this is what Nigerians provided on their platform, and this is what INEC has shown to Nigerians. I mean, then it will be reasonable to blame INEC. It will be reasonable to blame the others. Now, I'm not saying it's unreasonable to blame them, but I'm saying we ignored these things in 2027 because we left it alone. We should not. We should focus on what is in before us. We should not be spectators at the polling unit.
Yeah, we should be more than spectators. Now, Mr. Kalu, thank you so much for that robust analysis and the solution. I appreciate you. You are really an active citizen. Now, to every active citizens out there, you've heard we keep complaining that come election year to year that our vote does not count. So what is the point of always going out to vote? You can hear now that your vote need to count, or your vote can count, but you need to ensure that you take the bull by the horn and make your vote count. So you're not waiting for any messiah to come and save you or secure your vote. You need to secure your vote. And how do you get to securing your vote? Please go and obtain your PVC first of all, because that's more like your ticket to changing the mago, let me just put it that way, in the electoral system. Your ticket is your PVC is your first ticket. And I would appreciate everybody who joined us this evening for Active Citizens Hero series. We see you, we love you, we appreciate you. Do well to like, comment, share, and do all those good stuff. Like I said, we see you, we love you. But from here at We Active Citizens, we say thank you so much. And my name remains Ifeoma Orji, and I did this alongside Mr.
Kanu, of course. And I will tell you one thing. It is your own vote to defend the count and protect democracy. And that is the road to 2027.
Right on point. Yes. Clocking it.
Yeah, tomorrow again,
of course,
we'll be there for you. Thank you very much. Share, like.
They want to make sure they suppress others from voting.
Every election, a nation makes a choice. Every vote carries a voice. Every polling unit tells a story. But democracy does not belong to Nigerians. It does not belong to government. It belongs to the people. It belongs to the teacher, it belongs to the trader, it belongs to the student, the farmer, the artisan, the ordinary citizen. Together, the guardians of democracy. Now, across more than 176,000 polling units, a new movement is emerging. A movement built on truth, built on transparency, built on accountability, built on peaceful citizen participation. It is not violence, it is not intimidation, it is not division, but verification, documentation, participation, and most importantly, trust. Now imagine every polling unit protected by informed citizen. Imagine every result independently verified. Imagine a stronger democracy. Imagine a better Nigeria. Protecting democracy, verifying results, empowering citizens. This is Active Citizens Award 2027, because every vote must count.
you.